like to call the meeting to order. The Town of Southbridge Charter Review Committee. It is Monday, December 8th, 2025. It's 4:30 in the Veterans Room. Agenda item number 1, call the meeting to order. Agenda number 2 is roll call. Chairman Michael Montigny, present. John Matthew.
Present.
Maddie Bonadiaz.
Present.
Max Gullickson.
Present.
And Patricia Targi.
Present.
And we are all present, and we have a quorum. Agenda item number 3 is elect a recording secretary. Do I hear any nominations for recording secretary?
I nominate Max Gullickson.
Well,
Second.
Max, if you don't have the capability at home to do it right now,
I don't have a laptop. So
okay.
you're nominating me because I did it for 180 years for the town, and you know I know how to do it and blah blah. And I told you I'd do it, but I can't do it without.
Okay.
You gotta hustle up a laptop because I can't even type them up. I don't have a typewriter at home. I have a big Apple, but no. My old laptop from the day is so antiquated. It won't even, like, you couldn't be able to email minutes on my version of, and I don't know where it is. So I need a somebody here has one.
If I can procure a laptop for you,
Yeah,
but
it has Windows on it. I mean,
for the first meeting,
yeah.
I mean, I'll do the minutes for the first meeting.
They shouldn't be more than just who attended the time, what we did in one sentence. You don't need.
Right.
God, I mean, you know.
So for now, I mean,
yeah, and
Max
if you do that, I'll do it, and I'll be in charge of it. I don't think we're gonna. I don't know how many. I don't have a feel for how long it's going to last or anything like that. But
so this is very trivial, but should we elect you and then say that I'll do the
go
first
ahead. You're
ones?
doing the first ones. You don't even have to say you're doing the first ones. Just do them.
Okay.
Make yourself
Understood. All right.
Yeah.
So
all
then,
right. I can live with that.
you want to we're nominating Max. We have a second. All those in favor for Max?
They don't hose me on that laptop.
No, trust me. If you want, we can re-elect
You
another
no.
recording secretary.
I can't read by handwriting. That's all.
If we can't find it.
Do you need paper to? Oh, you gotta just
He's
take it
gonna
off
do
the.
it today,
Oh,
so-
okay. Yeah. You
Yeah.
could just.
And let me just make sure that this is well and good, so you can transcribe. Oh yeah, we're taking. All right, so we're through that, and then we're gonna go to agenda item number 4: discuss charter review process and next steps. Well, I'm gonna try to make it as simple as possible for everybody watching at home, all the citizens. The charter is basically the equivalent to the Constitution of Southbridge. It's a document for the citizens, written by the citizens, and well, it starts here at a recommending board that was appointed by the chairman of the town council. This board will make recommendations for the full council to vote yes or no on, and if the council votes yes, then that question goes to a June election, and only then, if the voters and the citizens of Southbridge vote yes on it, that's the only way that this document can get changed for clerical typos and things like that. Anything important, big changes, changing the way the town is governed in any way must be decided at the polls. Other than that, you've heard who's on the committee. If nobody wants to make formal introductions or anything, I could just say that these are all former town employees. Some have worked for the school department in different capacities too, so including myself. So we're all citizens for a very long time.
And current employees.
And current employees too.
Absolutely.
The current clerk, which is definitely a benefit to us. So the next steps, how I'm going to do this is we have to praise the last charter committee. 5 years ago, they did an extremely thorough job. There were already things vetted. The one thing I have to say is the language about the town manager living in town went to the voters, and it was an overwhelming, 80+% yes, voted to change that. So I really would not like to entertain that we recommend a change to that, since the citizens of Southbridge just spoke, it doesn't matter what I think, they just really spoke loudly that one's okay. Yeah. But other than that, nothing else went to the voter, and I would be asking you guys here if you could treat it kind of like we treat the budget. So if we're going to skim through this, I can summarize a little bit. People can make comments here if you need to. Just raise your hand. And you can tell me hold. I'd like to, chapter 1, section 1-1-1. I'd like to hold that, and we can put that on another meeting. So that's how I think we're going to do it here. And I'm just going to get right into it. If anybody has any comments or questions at the beginning here? No? All right, and thank you, everybody, for volunteering to do this with me. Okay, so starts with the preamble. This stuff here is really all the definitions, like the beginning of a contract almost. It explains the incorporation of this document, form of government. You know, as you've seen in the past, that people try to offer up selectman form of government or something. It is this section here, chapter 1, section 2-1, that explains that this form of government in this town. As you continue, there's powers, construction, and anybody please stop me if you have any comments or questions, just let me know, raise your hand. On then page 2, with just defining language such as bylaw, which refers to general and permanent legislative enactment by the town council, establishing the structure of town government and prescribing the activities of its citizens. We have a bylaw committee that's going off at the same time right now. As they review the bylaws, we may feel like we need to have a joint meeting of both committees to make sure that the documents match up, maybe later this winter. That would be the end of chapter 1, very basic. I don't think anybody would want to change that anyway. But chapter 2, the town council, section 1, composition. This is where it says it has 9 members, nominated and elected from the town at large to serve 3-year staggered terms. Just to get a feel of where we're going here. The eligibility, if you're qualified voters of the town shall be eligible to hold office. You know, the compensation, it may provide an annual salary, but we do not have one. Should reimburse for
Chair,
their expenses.
Can I
Yes.
intervene?
Yes,
So
please.
in 2-2-3, it says terms of council shall be limited to 3 consecutive terms.
Yes.
Are we going, there's been questions in the past about
Okay.
whether, what defines a term.
Right. Okay. So they did define it, and we can use Chairman Councilor Lazo as an example. It was defined by some power to be there that it's 3 elected, winning 3 elections in a row. So Scott's first election was for a 2-year term,
Okay,
and then his other 2 elections that he won thereafter were each for 3 years. So he maxes out at 8, not 9, but those are 3 terms.
okay. So should we put such language in here to avoid confusion in the
Okay.
future?
Well,
I'm not sure.
No, that's you know, if we can put it on another agenda, or I can do the homework on that to see if we need to or not, because
Okay.
I remember we definitely have consulted this in the past.
Right, we have, but
And,
it's always comes up.
Yeah,
You know,
no,
so-
you're right. You're right. It could be something that we could, could sometimes attach, you know, a footnote that you know, you contacted the attorney general or something, and
Is there any instance where it happens that someone's replacing someone who dropped, like if you, because you're being elected occasionally for 2, we had a whole string
Right.
of them. Is
Like
that
it-
what happened with Scott Lazo?
that's
Was it-
pretty much.
Yes.
He got elected to a 2-year to replace somebody who bailed?
Yeah,
Yes.
someone resigned. Yeah, or someone were to pass away or something like that. You know, at
All
the
right,
specific
I
time.
wasn't sure, because I mean, he wasn't the only, there were several there.
Yep.
Right.
Every now and again,
All right.
it shows up.
Three
Okay, so
consecutive.
do we need to define 3 terms? Good.
Visit that language.
Okay.
Right.
2, 2, 3. Perfect. This is how I'm envisioning this going. All right. Compensation. It says they may, if you want. So this language does give them, you know, future counselors the power to do so. I think in the past, long ago, they may have been paid, but that's not something that anybody's interested in here. Town councilors reimbursed for actual expenses. Okay. That's that very quick section of compensation. Then section 4, general powers and duties. I will read this section because for people at home too, they can understand the general powers and duties of the town council. This is like pretty much the job description. 2-4-1, except as otherwise provided in this charter, all general corporate, legislative, policy-making, and appropriations powers of the town shall be vested in the town council. 2-4-2, the town council may enact bylaws and other measures and rules and regulations not inconsistent with this charter, governing its own proceedings and other matters pertaining to the exercise of its powers and performance of its duties. 2-4-3, the town council shall keep a journal of its proceedings, which shall be a public record. 2-4-4, the town council may establish committees, subcommittees, and advisory committees as it deems reasonable and necessary, and such committees may include non-councillor members. Councillor appointments to such committees shall be made by council chairperson, and non-councillor member appointments to such committees shall be made by the council subcommittee members, subject to confirmation by the council. 2-4-5, town councillors shall interact with town officers and employees under the jurisdiction of the town manager, solely through the manager, and neither the council nor its members shall give orders to any such officer or employee, either publicly or privately. This prohibition shall not preclude the council or its members from asking questions, seeking information, or conducting conversations with all municipal employees. And 2-4-6 is the council or its members may freely and fully discuss with the manager anything pertaining to the appointment or removal of any town officer and employee, but neither the council nor its members shall in any way dictate the appointment or removal of an officer or employee under the jurisdiction of the manager unless otherwise specified by the charter. So in here, it's those last two that anybody only ever wants to know what they mean. It's basically in both situations, it's showing you this is where council doesn't have anything to do with hiring, firing, or telling department heads what to do. These two sections here very clearly state that the town council only has every right to ask questions and inquiries about all those things, but they have no right to dictate what to do in any of those situations. And that is the powers and duties of the town council. So if nobody has anything to say, I'm just going to continue on. To meetings and a quorum. This is where it says they need to meet twice a month. Or documents provided at least 48 hours in advance. You know, this is the accordance with open meeting law. 2-5-2, all meetings of the council shall be public except as provided in general law provisions. Executive session. The agenda for such meeting shall be determined by the chairperson and follow Robert's Rules of Order. And it explains that people can be heard. And it says inhabitants and employees of the town shall have a reasonable opportunity to be heard. Just to clarify that here. 2-5-3, majority of the members shall constitute a quorum. 2-5-4, in no instance shall be required that all members need to be present in order to conduct business. Okay. Section 2-6 is bylaws. Proposed bylaws deal with one subject only, introduced in writing. Any bylaw which repeals or amends part of the town bylaws shall set out in full the sections and sections of the bylaw repealed and amended. Now, I know that people have asked about making it so you can waive 3 readings. Every bylaw shall be read at 3 separate meetings before its passage. Town manager said at the last council meeting, everybody did vote to waive it. We've had pushback from citizens, or a specific citizen that said that that was not supposed to happen, but Jack said that he spoke to a lawyer's office that said it has to be a unanimous vote. It cannot even have one no vote, but you could waive the reading of the long bylaw with a vote. Now, the citizen said that they don't necessarily agree with that. And we could visit, and I think at least for the topic of bylaws, maybe we should visit the subject of letting it be known in here that you can waive a reading with,
Yeah, I think you're right.
because you still have
I
to.
sat there, Mike, and you have these
Yeah.
meetings, and they spend 25 minutes on something that nobody in their right mind can possibly follow.
Not on
What an
TV, yeah.
extraordinary waste of time that is.
Which is why it's online and in other places
Right, I mean,
to
you
be
can go,
found.
if you're really that interested, you can go read it.
Right, and then in here it also says it's at least 5 members for the bylaw. It's not 6. A lot of people have said it's 6 to have a bylaw pass, and it's 5. So I'm gonna put in here 263 just so we can discuss waiving readings.
Yeah.
And maybe we can make that recommendation or not, depending on what we find. I'll do some research. If there's anything else. No. Section 7, action requiring a bylaw. And we're spending a little more time on chapter 2 because it directly, town council. Action requiring a bylaw addition to other acts required by law, this charter be done by law. Yep, it's just more language. Filling vacancies in the town council. A vacancy in the office of town councilor, whether caused by death, resignation, or removal, shall be filled by special election to be called within 30 days of said vacancy, unless regular town election will occur within 180 days. That seems to be standard practice, I think. Section 9, the chairperson and vice chairperson of the town council, election and removal. The first meeting, July 1st, they're going to reorganize and have elections. 2-9-2, chairperson shall preside at meetings of the town council, shall be recognized as head of the town government for all ceremonial purposes and by the governor in case of emergency. 2-9-3, the chairperson may be removed from said office by 2/3 vote of the entire council, which is consistent with Robert's rules. Any member of the council at any point may make a motion to remove the chairperson. If the motion is seconded, the motion shall be voted on at that time without exception by the council. 2-9-4, the vice chairperson shall automatically become chairperson in the event of the permanent disability, death, or resignation or removal of the chairperson. A new vice chairperson shall be elected by majority vote of the town council at the first regularly scheduled meeting called by the new chairperson. And 2-9-5, the vice chairperson may be removed from office by a 2/3 vote of the entire council. I just look at that and I look back at 2-9-3. We just read it referenced as a minimum of 6 votes, and now it's referenced as by a 2/3 vote of the entire council. I know we've come into this before. Like, I think those two languages should be consistent. Now, I don't know if you know, Madam Clerk, which language makes sense.
Well, 29-3 does say by 2/3 vote.
Oh, it does.
Yes, but it just doesn't say
A minimum. Okay.
I mean, in the
I see.
2-9-5 it doesn't say
It
IE.
does say it.
So you could just bring that back down and put
I
IE.
get it.
It's
Alright.
almost redundant.
So this one is yeah.
You
And
could
the,
almost leave it out in the first sentence in 2-9-5
Yeah.
because you've already said the exact same thing, right?
Two-
Or no?
yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. Maybe this is 2-9-3 and 2-9-5 needs some sort of little just clerical like
Cleaning up.
typo,
Yeah.
grammar.
Twerking.
Yeah, this is not going to be something that would ever go to the voter because it's literally just grammar.
Right.
If you take
Um,
that first sentence out and just put them together, I mean, that's just my.
Right. So I'm just going to do 2-5, 2-9-3 grammar for
Yeah, make it fit.
2/3 minimum 6. Just a consistent grammar.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Yeah, the grammar consists with 2-9-.
And then 2-9-4.
That's the one you like
3
better?
and 5.
As
Well,
a-
I mean, if you want to use the
Yeah.
minimum of 6,
Yeah, I think 2-9-3 would probably be the one I'd recommend too, to keep it looking like that. Okay, good.
and then you either write out 2/3 or with words or numbers.
Right.
You know
Have
what I
you
mean?
seen that make a difference in clerk stuff?
Well,
The
OCD is
language
like,
is.
Yeah,
Well,
you-
sure, I
you
want it to be
words.
consistent,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
does it matter
No, I
to
wouldn't think.
municipality? Like,
I
no.
don't think, but I mean,
Okay.
you should just make it. Well, we're doing it. We may as well
I
make
think
it.
we're
the
looking
same.
at it anyway.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
a question too.
Yeah,
I mean, you
Max.
look at the last sentence of 2-9-4, new vice president, chairman. Then the last sentence of 2-9-5, new vice. It's the exact same language. I mean, you're talking. You could almost take the entirety of 2-9-5 out because the whole thing. It's almost like it wasn't deleted in a prior copy.
Well,
There's-
no,
the same exact sentence exists in 2 places.
you're right.
So
wow, you are right. That
you
is
could
a new
adjust the
vice
whole thing,
chairperson.
and it would make more sense. And you know, but
Oh, but
we'll
wait.
think about it. We'll review it.
294 says if the chairman dies. And
Well, we leave 294, and that'll be the last one.
295 says if the vice chairman is removed from office by a vote of the council.
Oh, you're right about
It's
that.
like yeah. So I guess that's a good, but you just made me see a typo, Max. 295 last sentence. And it says town is spelled wrong.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Can the public chime in at all?
Well, town employees certainly can. What's going on, Peg?
Just with the 2/3 comment, have the town council ever changed from a number of 9?
They were 13.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think the only reason you'd ever either do 6 or
Correct.
2/3 is if
If you
were,
change the
So
number.
the 2/3 could stay and depending
Yeah.
on if you ever changed or not, but as
Yeah.
long as you do charter reviews
Yeah.
periodically enough to catch those things, and I think if you
Yeah.
were ever to change your
And if you're gonna change the charter to
To change the
13
council,
counselors,
you're
you're
gonna
gonna end
do
up
it.
changing this blanket throughout the document.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay, good point. All right, sounds like we got this under control. We're gonna move on to chapter 3 if nobody else has anything. Okay. All right, chapter 3. Other elected towns, boards, and officers. 3-1-1, members of town boards to be elected by qualified voters. The town shall be, in addition to the town council, A, the school committee, B, a regional vocational school committee, C, the clerk, D, 4 members of housing authority, E, 4 members of redevelopment, and F, 2 part-time members of the board of assessors. Now, there's probably more than one instance where this comes in, maybe not, but does anybody, I've heard people come to me with the discussion of how to handle a town clerk in the future after Maddie retires, and I just maybe since the last charter commission had so much other work to work on, maybe if we save this item to come back and revisit later, just so we can put out on the table the pros and cons of each. I know people have talked about this at length, but I'm just gonna put it on to revisit later. I have no problem with what this says here, but that'll come from a very later meeting. 3-1-2, boards and commissions established under the charter shall perform their functions and duties in accordance with Constitution, general laws, this charter. 3-1-3, no member of any board established under this charter shall be eligible to accept any appointed paid town position under jurisdiction of the board which he or she was a member for 1 year following expiration of their term. And it's, Madam Clerk, it's 6 months, right, for the state, and it's 12 months for our charter. I think that's right.
Oh, I'm not sure. I'd have to.
Yeah,
research.
either way, the charter supersedes, right?
Right, right.
So we have to go with 12. That's how that works. 3-1-4, members of boards and commissions receive actual and necessary expenses incurred within limitations. Okay. Quasi zoning board. The 3-1-5 is the zoning board. We'll read this one. Any elected or appointed member of quasi judicial board, and they outline zoning board of appeals, conservation commission, board of health, liquor licensing board, special permit granting authority shall be limited to one such board and eligible to serve on any other quasi judicial. So it says you are on zoning, you can't be on conservation. If you're on board of health, you can't be on liquor license, and so forth. Section 2 of chapter 3 is vacancies. Vacancies in the elected town boards established under this charter shall be filled by the town council in joint conventions with the remaining members of the respective board within 60 days unless a regular town election shall occur within 120 days, but only until the next town election. So it's saying for those boards, school committee, Bay Path, clerk, housing authority, redevelopment, assessors, those will be filled by joint meetings of those boards. So that's much like we've done things in the past with the school committee, but it also extends to those other few boards. Section 3 is regional vocational school committee. Terms for Bay Path School Committee shall be for 3 years. They're to be staggered. Section 4, here it is again, the town clerk shall be elected to serve for a 3-year term. Town clerk shall receive such compensation not to exceed the amount appropriated by the town council. And I mean, I'm just going to mark it down as a clerk. Section 5, Housing Authority. 3-5-1, Housing Authority of 5 members, 4 whom shall be elected, 1 of whom shall be appointed as provided by state law. Section 6, Redevelopment Authority of 5 members, 4 of whom shall be elected, 1 of whom shall be appointed, provided by state law. Section 7 is Board of Assessors, 2 part-time members to be elected by the voters for 3-year staggered terms. 3rd member to be full-time and appointed by the town manager for a 3-year term staggered. They'll be the clerk of the board. And Section 8, officers, powers, duties, and compensation. Officers and members of boards established under this charter shall exercise such powers and duties as are and may be provided general law, this charter, bylaw, or to the town council. And they may receive compensation if the town council appropriates. And that is chapter 3. We're moving right along. It's 5 o'clock now. Chapter 4, the manager, appointment and qualifications, 411 says the town council by majority vote of its full membership, minimum of 5 votes, shall appoint town manager who shall administer and implement the directives and policies adopted by the town council. 412 talks about how the chairman of the council will appoint a search committee of 5 members. 2 are members of the council, 3 are citizens of the town not holding elective office and are not employees of the town. The appointment of non-council members of such committee shall be subject to confirmation by the council. They may engage a professional search firm. 413, the manager shall be appointed solely on a basis of educational, executive, and administrative qualities and experience, which shall include at least a bachelor's degree from an accredited 4-year degree granting institution. It shall include professional experience of at least 3 years full-time compensated supervisory service in municipal administration or related administrative activity, and shall serve at the pleasure of the council. To be considered for appointment, such experience shall be certified to the council by an appropriate official of the entity where such experience was obtained. If a resident of the town, the successful candidate shall have held no elected municipal office for a period of 1 year prior to appointment. I think I have been asked as well to visit the description of what the manager needs, because upstairs when they post, or whenever the town council goes and posting a position for a town manager, they're allowed to, put other things in the job title. Description requirements and what they're looking for. But this is in the charter. It's in the Constitution. So I mean, like, when we post for a manager, we could ask for a master's and say that's a requirement. Like, we could vote that in as a requirement if we felt like it. But should this document have, any sort of, well, they must have a bachelor's. It doesn't even say a bachelor's in the field. I mean, they could have a bachelor's in gardening, according to this document. So, I mean, like, should it even be there at all? I just think it might be worth discussing. So I'm going to hold it. Max, did you want to say something?
I have a question in the past, because every 5 years they revisit it. In the past, there was a requirement for a master's of public administration, I think.
Okay, so it's gone backwards a little.
And this one is, I don't know, the last one, the one prior, but at some point, maybe
Right.
my memory's failing me, but there was at one point a requirement in the charter.
Okay.
Not in the job description, but actually in the charter. And I don't know if that's something, but that's,
Right.
I don't know if they must have taken it out.
See, I'm the type of person who, I'm okay with that,
Yeah.
going backwards to that, because I don't think, that's just, and this is more of a discussion at the next time when we bring this up, but, I personally feel that, like, the council can set those limitations when they go to hire a manager,
Right.
and I don't know if, they need government to extend its hand to say, like, well, we've already walked back from having a master's in public administration to just any old bachelor's degree. I mean, why even start setting those in a small paragraph? Like, So I think it's worth discussing, Max, and I'm going to put it on there,
Yeah.
and I'm going to put college degree and other requirements. If anybody has anything else about that.
I would just like to mention, in light of, so I find that it's interesting that this topic would come up when Nora stood in as the acting town manager without a degree, and I know that the town council all spoke very highly about, potential future opportunities. So I would just want to make sure that everyone checked their blind spots and made sure that this isn't tailor-made, and that it would be considered in the broadest terms of whoever the best candidate might be in the future, what's best for the town.
That's exactly right, because years later, after the master's in public administration was taken out, we wouldn't have been able to hire Jack Jovan if a prior counselor hadn't done that.
Why it changed.
10 years ago, 15 years ago, whenever that might have been.
They might have taken it out for that reason. Might have had a hard
Well,
time
that's
finding the best qualified candidate. I can see that being the reason. I'm
That's
not
just
advocating for it. I'm just curious.
No.
I thought I remembered that, and I was
Right.
surprised now when you read it that I didn't see it. Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion for it.
Well, then it's just my plain and simple thought. If you walked it backwards from Masters of Public Administration, which seems pretty, for this, if you're going to walk it back to any old bachelor's, then why even put the requirement in the charter? It doesn't have to be in the Constitution. The town council.
You think it should be a more
If they're gonna-
job-specific major kind of thing?
Well,
Like a degree in political science or something, or government? Or...
if they're, I just simply think that if they're gonna walk it backwards like that,
Yeah.
then it doesn't even need to be in there. You can set those requirements later,
And the job
okay,
okay.
or
Or the selection
or
committee
the
can
opposite.
set those.
Well, that's just it. The council and the search committee will be setting every time they have one. They're gonna set it anyway. The charter just tells them how far back they can go. Before, where they had to have if our history is correct, they had to have masters in public administration. But now they can have a bachelor's in athletics,
Right.
you know, and they could qualify. So it's like, well, that doesn't help me here. You know, this is, you know, I get it. I get what you're saying, but this is why it's a great discussion topic because, you know.
Okay, yeah, I'm cool with it. We'll talk about it.
Because a bachelor's degree is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I was able to be a teacher with a bachelor's degree. All right. 4-1-4. Upon appointment or reappointment, as the case may be, the council shall enter into a written contract with the manager. Nothing in said contract shall affect the appointment or removal powers of the council over the manager as hereinafter set forth. Section 2, powers and duties and role. The town manager shall be the chief administrative officer of the town and shall be directly responsible and accountable to the town council for the effective administration of all town affairs placed in his or her charge by the council or by this charter. The manager shall serve as a resource to the council. The council shall provide policy and political leadership for the town. The manager shall bring policy issues to the council to consider in making policy choices and shall then implement the policies chosen by the council. 422 says the town manager shall hold no elective or other appointive office, shall devote full time to the duties of the office, and shall engage in no other business or occupation without advance authorization of the council. So they can't get part-time job at Dunkin's. It's against the rules. 423, the manager shall, and you know, please, if there's something in here, because there's 13 things here that I'm more than happy to, you know, write down for any of you. Manager shall A, attend all council meetings except when excused and shall have the right to speak but not to vote. B, keep the council fully informed regarding town and departmental operations, fiscal affairs, general problems and administrative actions. Shall keep the town council fully advised as to the financial condition of the town by filing written reports with the council not less frequently than quarterly throughout the year. Shall provide the councilors with such town records and shall generate such reports as may be requested by the chairperson of the council or a majority of the council. C, keep the council fully informed as to the long-range needs of the town, the practices and governmental trends of other communities, and the laws and regulations of the Commonwealth, and make such recommendations to the council as deemed necessary and appropriate. D, assemble and present to the council the annual town operating and capital budget. Shall present said budgets to the council in format acceptable to the council and cooperate with the council in all financial matters. E, serve as general ombudsman for the town. F, maintain an inventory of all town, real and personal property. G, may be responsible for the daily administration of the personnel system, including the maintenance of personnel records and enforcement of personnel rules and regs. H, except as otherwise set forth in the general laws, shall serve as central purchasing agent for all town departments. I, be responsible for the maintenance of all buildings and property owned or leased by the town. J, perform such other duties as may be required by this charter, by bylaw, or by order of the council. K, the town manager shall propose and the town council may adopt personnel rules providing for the job descriptions for all town positions based on the duties, responsibilities, and authority of each position, with adequate provision for reclassification of any position whenever warranted by changed circumstances and such other practices and procedures as may be deemed necessary for the administration of town personnel system. L, execute all deeds in conveying town real property, but such conveyance shall have been previously authorized by the vote of the council pursuant to applicable provisions of mass law. M, to negotiate or cause to be negotiated all contracts involving any subject within the jurisdiction of the office of the town manager. And N, be responsible for coordination of activities of all agencies under his or her control with the activities of all other town agencies, including those elected by the voters of Southbridge and those appointed by other elected officials. Sound good? 424, gonna skim through this paragraph here. Subject to confirmation by the council, the town manager shall have the power to appoint on the basis of merit and fitness alone. This has been discussed, by the way, at the last meeting of the charter 5 years ago. Merit and fitness, someone said it has something to do with physical fitness. That's not what it means. It means mentally fit. Passing that physical that we all took to become town employees, saying that you're like a sane, like of mind, sound mind individual. You know,
I
so
think it's appropriate.
yeah,
I'm
like
not
it doesn't
offended
have
by it at
anything
all.
to do with physical, like
Yeah, no, I didn't think so.
probably someone a little more liberal than me suggested that we might be preventing people with a heavier set from working here, and I said that's preposterous. You're wasting my time. Okay, it says the people under here though is a fire chief, a police chief, a director of public works, town treasurer, town collector, veterans agent, director of inspection services, and all inspectors except as otherwise provided by law. Upon recommendation of the chief, a police department, upon recommendation of the chief of fire department, upon recommendation of the director of Department of Public Works, a finance director, a town accountant, one full-time assessor who will assume the duties of the clerk of the Board of Assessors, and upon the recommendation of the trustees of the library, head of the librarian, and such other individual town officers are authorized by general laws, this charter, town bylaws. Town may enter into contracts, but I think that 424, I might venture to ask the bylaw committee if everything lines up on their end. 'Cause someone said that, I remember we once, because we changed the DPW directors quite a bit in the last 10 years or so, DPW might not be consistent. So anyway, I'm just going to ask, they've already said that Councillor Kelly is going to be the chair, so I'll ask Councillor Kelly, just, we'll stay on the same page of DPW stuff, because that's where I've heard there might be some just language inconsistencies. Section 3 is power to appoint town boards and commissions. Town managers shall have the power to appoint, subject to confirmation by the council, the following boards. 5-member Board of Health. Is this the updated one? Because now I'm...
You have 4.4-2-5? Do you have the old one? This
Might
is
have
the-
Get the old one.
Yeah,
Alright.
oh yeah.
Now you haven't seen anything crazy that I have missed.
No, you,
have you?
everything, the only thing that's different is 4-2-5.
Page 11.
425. So I didn't miss anything here.
No, everything's the same except for right now.
Where's the part? Oh, the town manager shall. I got you. All right. So I skipped because I had the old version in front of me. 425. This is the first part of the new version. I was looking for it. The town. This is what was voted by the people. The town manager shall, within 12 months of the start of their employment, be a resident of the town of Southbridge and shall not cease to be a resident during their employment by the town. The town council may annually, by a 2/3 vote of the entire town council, not less than 6 town councilors, waive this requirement. Okay, that's the one we just.
I don't have it.
You
no.
don't have it?
No.
Yep.
You have this one, huh?
I
Yeah.
have a different
Alright.
one too.
I must, you can have this
Whatever.
one.
Okay.
Because then the rest of it's the same.
Okay. Yeah. Basically, it is. It's just a couple clerical errors.
Yeah.
Like there was like.
Page 11, Maddie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Section 3, power to appoint the boards. Okay, so town manager shall have the power to appoint subject to. Well, this is where I'm confused. I thought the planning board went down to 5 members. I thought all boards went down to 5 members with the last change. I thought we did no longer had 7-member appointed boards. I thought that was part of.
It could have been, I don't know,
Peg would know.
The charter change took effect, yeah, I thought it was on July 1st.
How
Yeah.
about Conscom's got 5 or 7?
5. I think the charter changed of there's no more 7-member boards.
So you got 2 of them
appointed.
here that have to be changed.
Right. No, and I think that's interesting.
I would just check with Jack because,
Yep.
yeah, he was the one who oversaw,
So,
making sure those boards moved.
I'm gonna-
members.
We'll check with this might not even be this might just be like a, I don't know. This wouldn't need to necessarily be deliberated. It might just be like an error in what they sent back to us after they certified. Because they could have put the big change in, but Well, let's see. A 5-member board of health. We're gonna do B. B is a 5-member planning board. Is what we believe it should have taken effect July 1st. It still says 7 in the document in front of me, with 2 alternate members. 3-member board of registrars, 3-member board of appeals, 2 alternate members. A 7-member conservation committee that would be down to 5. Okay, and then this one is BOH planning. Okay.
Have an alternate?
The conservation commission?
Do they or
That's a
no?
good question. I'll ask Katie to email
Yeah.
you with.
No, I believe that they don't. I believe
Just-
that we looked it up in mass law,
Okay.
or at least in here they don't. 3-member liquor board with 1 alternate member, and the members of such other boards and commissions council. Okay. 4-3.
Was the liquor board increased to 5? Or were you trying to
I don't
increase that
think
to
so.
5?
I don't think it was. I think it was.
Consideration for it? Would you consider it?
I think it was just moved down to 3. I
Um,
thought.
Yeah, 'cause they had a hard time getting.
Could the charter discuss, could the committee discuss it?
Is it moved down from?
I'll have to. I check. I thought they did move it down, but because they couldn't get a quorum all the time. But I will look.
Yeah, if that's a change that's been made, I'm gonna look into it. But if it's a change that's been made like recently by charter changes, I'm not like jumping to
Right, I would,
recommend.
yeah, I don't mean to undermine any changes that have already been made. I just
Yeah,
personally.
I'm just gonna check into liquor board. I'll make sure I write that. Got it. All right. 432 town manager shall have the power to appoint, subject to confirmation by the town council, the following town boards and commissions: constables, commissioners of trust funds, and World War I memorial trustees. Town manager shall have the power to appoint, subject to confirmation by the council, and such other members of boards and commissions as are authorized by the general laws, this charter or bylaws, for whom appointment is not otherwise provided. Section 441, the manager shall have the power to rescind, subject to confirmation by the council, for cause, including but not limited to excessive and unexcused absenteeism. It lists the things here, but the manager would recommend for the removal of someone for cause, and then they would have to have a public hearing and everything if requested. So it's another thing that reminds everybody that the councilors do not have removal powers, and the manager, that comes from his office, subject to council approval. 442, said power shall not apply to quasi-judicial bodies as determined by the town attorney. Section 5, so that means there's certain boards like Board of Health where they can't do that. Reorganization plans by the town manager. 451, the town manager may propose a plan subject to applicable law and the terms of this charter to establish, reorganize, consolidate, or abolish any town agency under his or her jurisdiction. Such reorganization plan may not be amended by the council, but shall be either approved or disapproved in the form as it's submitted. 6, removal of the manager. I've had people ask me to check into this, so we will. Final removal of the manager shall be effected by 2/3 votes of the entire council. I've had people ask why it was ever moved to 6 in the first place and why it hasn't gone back to 5 yet, like it was forever. 6 votes to 5. We're going to have a discussion about that at some point. Section 7, acting town manager. As we just experienced this, during absence or disability, the town manager and acting town manager shall be appointed by the council to perform the duties of the town manager. Any vacancy in the office of the manager shall be filled as soon as possible by the town council. Term of service of any person as acting town manager may not exceed 12 months. Compensation for such person shall be set by the council. Except as otherwise prohibited by this charter, nothing in this section shall prevent an acting town manager from being appointed as town manager. During a period of absence or disability of the town manager, pending the appointment of the acting town manager, the finance director shall perform the duties of the manager, provided, however, that an acting manager who is not a member of the council shall be appointed by the council as soon as possible. Okay. Chapter 5, school committee. This says that there's a 7-member school committee. elected terms for 3 years, staggered. So at least 2 members are each year. I believe it goes 2, 2, and then 3 members the third year, and then 2, 2, 3. Okay. Section 2, powers and duties. They have general charge of the public schools of the towns, the school committee does. They have the power to select and terminate a superintendent, establish educational goals and policies for the schools, and they shall have all the powers and duties given to the school committees by the laws of the Commonwealth. Someday.
Right,
But
I was
Hopefully.
gonna say,
None of that's true.
none of that's true for us.
It's been 10 years. Anyway. Chapter 6, Department of Public Works. Establishment. There shall be an established. There shall be established in the town of Southbridge a Department of Public Works administered by the town manager. 612. The responsibilities shall be incorporated in the Department of Public Works. Highway Department, Engineering Department, Sewer Department, Parks Department, Maintenance Function of Recreation Department, Cemetery Department, Tree Warden, Moth Superintendent, Fence Viewer, Field Driver, Custodian of Town Structures, Water Department, and other related functions.
You got a fence viewer?
Well, Bob Lamoth
Okay.
is the Moth Superintendent.
Of course.
613, there shall be a Director of Public Works appointed for a 3-year term by the Town Manager, subject to confirmation by the Town Council. Director shall report directly to the Town Manager. 614, the Director may be removed in the same manner as the other department heads. Okay. Section 2, powers and duties of the Director. Powers and duties in addition to those conferred or imposed shall include the power to establish divisions within the Department of Public Works. Each division shall assume such management and control as determined by the DPW Director. The Director shall have the power to make rules and regulations for the governing of the Department of Public Works and divisions thereof, and shall attend to the proper enforcement of the same. The Director shall have jurisdiction over the divisions and over each member of the division. No person shall be hired as employee of the department without the consent of the Director. 622, in the event Director is absent from the town, he shall notify the manager in writing, and who's going to do the responsibilities. 623, the Director shall attend meetings of the Town Council when requested, recommend to the Town Manager measures requiring action as deemed necessary. 624, the Director shall keep full and complete records of the department. You know, this is all regular stuff that he needs to report and keep records. Each petition submitted to the council and referred by the Public Works shall be returned to the council within the recommendation of the Director 30 days after its referral. Geez, the way this is written, it makes the DPW department seem so far away, like its own entity somewhere. But there's really a great, collaboration between the DPW and the town right now. Director shall keep the town manager and council fully advised as to the needs of the town within the scope of his or her duties, and furnish the town manager on or before the first day of March each year a detailed list of appropriations required during the next ensuing fiscal year for proper conduct of all divisions under his or her control, to furnish a master plan for all major public works for the town, giving priority to the projects in accordance to necessity, establish long-term planning, best interest of the town. 627, the Director shall cause to be performed all the work of construction, reconstruction, alteration, repair, maintenance, and upkeep, and all other work incidental thereto of the department specified in 612, in accordance with policies of long-range plans, priority of major projects, capital outlay requirements as may be authorized and established by the manager, town manager. 628, the Director shall inspect all streets and ways being constructed to ascertain whether said construction complies with plans filed by the planning board, or filed with the planning board and with all planning board regulations, town bylaws, state statutes, and to give the planning board a report of the inspection prior to approval of said street. All good, everybody? Okay. Section 1 of Chapter 7 is the town attorney. Very simple. Manager shall, subject to confirmation, appoint a town attorney to serve as chief legal advisor to the town manager and all town departments, office, and agencies. It doesn't prevent the town from engaging work with other lawyers, but we will, according to this, name a town attorney every year. So if nobody has any problems with that, we'll just keep moving. Town auditor. Again, chapter 8, section 1, the manager shall, subject to confirmation by the council, appoint an auditor who shall annually, in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards for governmental financial audits, audit all town accounts. Okay, it's just another formality of the auditor. It has to be appointed every year. Chapter 9, licensing, liquor licensing board. There shall be a liquor licensing board established in accordance with the laws of the Commonwealth, subject to approval of the council. The members, town manager appoints the members, one alternate, 3 members. It says in here, all members must have been residents of Southbridge for at least 2 years. Okay. Vacancy shall be filled by a town manager for a remainder of unexpired term in the manner provided for the original appointment. Okay, so they
I
have to
wonder
be
why.
2 years. Yeah.
Why is that? I mean, we have a hard time getting board members.
Have you ever heard anybody talk about
No.
that?
There's no other board that requires that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I
I
can't
wonder if it's a
imagine.
state law. I don't
Maybe,
know.
right?
It could
that,
be.
That would be some reason.
Oh, so you don't buy a bar and just
Oh, true.
rent yourself the apartment upstairs and just say I can be on the liquor board now.
Yeah,
You know,
Well,
but you
sure.
can't
Although
really be on the
it's
liquor
public,
board
but-
anyway, right?
right.
Right, it's it's one of the autonomous ones. It's
Yeah.
exclusive, so.
Well,
Just
unless you
circle it.
guys feel like talking about it again, it doesn't bother me. I mean,
But the only reason it's
If you want
really
to.
a small thing. It's just that I know historically there's been a
Well,
hard
you know
time
what?
finding
And there's
board
no other
members.
boards.
let me look into it, Max.
Let's just circle it. Maybe we'll.
I'm gonna circle the.
For no other reason than that, to make
Two-
it easier for people who want to get involved.
Yep. 2 years.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
I don't have strong feelings.
Yeah. And there's the conflict. 212. A person appointed to the liquor board shall not be engaged directly or indirectly in the commercial manufacture or sale of alcohol. And if they do, their office shall immediately become vacated.
No matter how long they lived here.
Licensing other than liquor, 921, with respect to licenses and permits other than those relating to alcoholic beverages, the manager shall grant all such licenses and permits and have all the powers and duty of licensing. I would assume marijuana comes under that if there's going to be anything at the town level for that, and then any other food license probably goes under that and things like that. All other licenses. So we're almost done, gang. What time is it? 5:27. We're still we'll be done by 6 o'clock, and then we'll never have to skim this document again. We have real agendas with real things. I'm already up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things we've held. So that's I appreciate everybody airing concerns to me to be heard later. Chapter 10: Financial Provisions and Procedures. Applicability of general law 1011. In all matters concerning finances and financial procedures of the town, the provisions of the general law shall apply, together with such other requirements as are provided by this charter and bylaw. Contracts 1021. All contracts for services negotiated by the town manager shall be ratified by a majority vote. So here's where you answer some questions. Some people, when they say, do they need 6 votes? It's not always looking back at Robert's rules. Sometimes you reference right here. Contracts, it was 5 votes. 1031, submission of a budget and budget message at least 90 days prior to the start of each fiscal year. The town manager shall submit to council a budget for the ensuing year and accompanying message unless otherwise provided. So that's April 1st, if my math is correct. 1032, town manager's message shall explain the budget both in fiscal terms and in terms of work programs. It shall outline the proposed financial policies of the town for the ensuing fiscal year, describe the important features of the budget, indicate any major changes from the current year in financial policies, expenditures, and revenues together with the reasons for such changes, summarize the town's debt position, include such other materials the town manager deems desirable. Section 4 is proposed budget. 1041, the budget shall provide a complete financial plan of all town funds and activities for the ensuing fiscal year, including proposed school budget, and except for the school budget, or as required by law, the charter shall be in such a form as the town council deems desirable and shall require. So when the town council asked, can you please put the budget like the town budget? And they said, not right now. Says that except for the schools, town council cannot ask for the budget to be neat and legible. Okay, it shall indicate in separate sections proposed expenditures for current operations during the ensuing fiscal year, detailed by offices, departments, and agencies, and the method of financing such expenditures. And 2, proposed capital expenditures during the ensuing fiscal year, detailed by offices, departments, and agencies were practicable. I'm going to just do the research so you guys know of answering that question, why except for the schools?
Did they have to lay out their budget in an established format? Do the other ones that don't have to do that?
Yeah, I guess because they have the right to different software and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do a little more research into that. We might never have a real agenda item on it.
Okay.
If nobody else cares, I'll just try to find an answer and report back to you guys with that. 10.4.2 is, in submitting the proposed budget, the manager shall utilize modern fiscal principles so as to afford maximum information, financial control. The budget shall detail all estimated revenue from the property tax levy. It shows here that everything that the town manager gives us it's all outlined here in black and white. Notice of public hearing on proposed budget is 10.5.1, that it must be published in one or more newspapers, the general summary of the budget, and a notice stating the times and places where the copies of the budget are available for inspection, the date, time, and place not less than 2 weeks after such publication, when a public hearing on the budget shall be held. Section 6, adoption of the budget. In amending the budget, it may be by a majority vote. The town council adopts the budget. 5 votes for amendment, delete or decrease any programs or amounts except expenditures required by law. So cuts for 5 votes. It may be 2/3 vote of the full council to increase. So 6 votes to increase what the manager has recommended to spend, and 5 votes to cut. Okay. Section 7, capital improvements, 10.7.1, with the period provided by general law, manager shall submit to town council a 6-year capital improvement plan. Everybody always wonders if it's 5, it's 6. And it's all laid out here. If anybody has any problems with the capital improvement plan, it's always nice to see the 6-year, forecast of what we might need to buy or not buy. Section 8, notice of public hearing on capital programs. This states that they will also have public hearing. You have a little bit extra time for the capital. That has to be the end of the 11th month of the current fiscal year, as opposed to 90 days before the end. And then supplemental appropriations, 10.9.1, if during the fiscal year the manager certifies through the finance director the revenues in excess of those estimated in the budget are available for appropriation, the council may make supplemental appropriations for the year up to the amount of such excess. 10.1, emergency appropriations to meet a public emergency affecting life, health, property, or public peace. Town council may make emergency appropriations, and any such emergency order shall so be declared in the emergency preamble thereto, separately voted on, receiving at least 6 votes, 2/3. Section 11, reduction or restriction of use of appropriations, 10.11.1. If at any time during fiscal year it appears probable to the manager that the revenues available will be insufficient to meet the amount appropriated, he or she shall report to the town council without delay, indicating an estimated amount of the deficit and any remedial action taken by him or her and his or her recommendations as to any other steps to be taken. Council shall then take such further action as it deems necessary, and for that purpose may reduce, restrict, or limit the use of unexpended balance of appropriations. So it just explains what to do in panic mode. Transfer of appropriations is section 12.
I have one.
Why am
question.
I,
I'm sorry, Mike. I just have a quick question.
I'm missing that language anyway, somehow.
Oh, yeah, you are.
You see, down the old one?
on 10.10.1, where you have with 2/3 of the emergency appropriation,
Yeah, nice.
where's the money coming from? Should you also require you identify the funding source, like if you're gonna have to transfer funds? I don't know. Otherwise, you can appropriate anything for any emergency.
Well, I believe we can see if it's redundant or not, because in here it probably says that any appropriation shall be given a funding source from
Yeah.
somewhere in here. We might have missed the blanket
Yeah, okay.
order of the court somewhere.
Yeah, no
But
worries.
no, let's just. I'm gonna put. These are all things that.
Funding source.
Yeah, funding source.
All right, that's all. Number 12, huh?
Okay, so I'm missing Maddie.
No, just go forward
So
2
see-
pages. It's kind of out of order.
Oh, is it? It's just.
Yeah.
Is it a front and back? No, Max. I'm missing a
You look for number 12, right?
10, 12,
10,
1.
12,
Yeah.
1. See, it's on the old one, Mike?
Okay.
But it's not, doesn't seem to be on the new one.
That's okay. We will make sure that 10, 12, 1 is in new charter. I don't know if that was a Microsoft Word
Yeah,
Yeah.
to check it out.
typo or
Just-
what, but.
It's at the end of the page.
Yep, 10, 12, 1. Okay, transfer of appropriations. 10, 12, 1 says, at any time during the fiscal year, the town council may, upon recommendation of the town manager through the finance director, transfer part or all of any unencumbered appropriation balance among programs within a department, office, or agency, and may transfer part or all of any unencumbered appropriation balance from one department, office, or agency to another. Okay?
Oh,
So now let's get away from
Yes.
it.
could you read it again?
It says, at any time during the fiscal year, the town council may, upon recommendation of the town manager through the finance director, transfer part or all of any unencumbered appropriation balance among programs within a department, office, or agency, and may transfer part or all of any unencumbered appropriation balance from one department, office, or agency to another. Okay.
So I know that in the past, that's been a point of, I don't know if it's that specific part of the charter, but there's the question about, could there be any room for consideration for small, either percentage or nominal amounts to be
Right.
able to be transferred without the town council's consent? And I think that there was, a few years ago, a suggestion of, could it be, I don't know if it was 3% or $3,000, whichever is lower of the two, as a suggestion.
Okay, well, I've heard from 2 town employees. The town employees want transfer policy now. And I have written that down.
And I don't have a position, yes or no, I just know,
Oh,
having been, in situations in the past, that I understand where, it can be potentially beneficial to, do those transfers. Again, but I only say the 3% of the 3,000 because say if your line, for instance, I am the smallest budget in town. I think, if I had, besides maybe Parks and Rec, if I had a line of, $30 or $50, right? My 3% would be just a few dollars. To be able to move that without having to come to town council would be very convenient, right? Yeah.
understood.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I've definitely noted it here. You and Jack. And Peg.
Mike,
Yeah.
when the fire chief at the end of the fiscal year has to go before the board and there's 18 transfers of $143
Yeah.
because it's almost impossible to predict your overtime budget
Yeah.
if you're a policeman or a fireman
Right.
or even a DPW worker. And is there any language that could that could preclude him from having to? I don't know how the town council might find it better too, that they
Yeah.
don't get bogged down with 35 items that are
No, right.
transfers of like 600 and under,
Right.
or some number
Yeah.
like that.
We've had this.
Maybe $3,000 is too much,
Yeah.
I don't
So
know,
actually,
maybe.
so 3% or $3,000, and there should be some kind of clause about net within that line item.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't be able, so I actually disagree in that case where, like, moving money back and forth, moving a lot of small amounts over time can accumulate to a lot more. And I do feel like the end of year can be taken advantage of, where people are just trying to spend their lines to be able to spend down their budgets. I do think that the spending should be justified, so I would say, if you do consider it, it should be across the board, and it should be a cap by, like, if you were to move within that line, you can only do 3% or 3,000 total, without going to town council.
Okay, thank you for your recommendations, Max. I hear what you're saying, and it seems like we should discuss it
Yeah,
at a future meeting.
yeah.
But if you're worried about people taking advantage of it, the best way to get around that is not to change it. Because counselors,
So-
get elected to do their job, and I expect the counselors to go to the meetings and to approve the transfers.
I agree, and that's why I think that there's gotta, in my opinion, maybe there's a sweet spot where you could do, these
Yeah.
small nominal amounts of, 3%, but again,
Yeah.
a cap in that line of 3%.
Yeah, we'll definitely hear it at a later meeting, but I disagree with the transfer policy because it takes power away from the people, and it's only a few meetings at the end of the spring. And if there's any counselors that think it's too much work to approve the transfer policies, then they shouldn't be counselors, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I hopefully will be able to attend that future meeting, but just keep in mind that for us to come to a town council to be able to get a transfer can take up to 3 weeks at the minimum, because you have to schedule a subcommittee and then a town council, without being a headache to everyone to ask for something to move faster than that.
Well, it's not 3 weeks at a minimum. I mean, you're saying at a potential maximum, it could take up to 3 weeks.
No, at a minimum, from a day-to-day working perspective.
Mhm.
So if I wanted to ask for a subcommittee meeting, I would have to contact, the town council, the town manager's office, and my subcommittee chair, who would then schedule it within, maybe best case scenario, less than a week, right? And then it would be going to the next town council, so maybe best case 2 weeks. But usually it's about 3 weeks of a backup time. So if, as you're approaching the end of the year, if you had these nominal expenses that you need to be able to consider, to have that, extra few weeks to have to go to town council, that's where sometimes it feels like it could be
Well,
approachable to consider just these nominal.
I hear what you're saying, and like I said, we're definitely going to hear this and get discussed on another agenda. But, as a counselor elected by the people for a volunteer position, I'm going to have to, say, I disagree, because we should just all do our jobs, including the town department heads. It's frustrating, I know, because I've run private businesses before, and things get done so much quicker, right? If you were to be working on a grant at a private business, you wouldn't have to jump through any hoops to get anybody's approval for things or whatever. But it's public money, and there's triple checks and balances on all these things. And, in the purest form of democracy, as the elected official, I have to stand up for the citizens and not recommend it. But as the chair of this board, I'm going to put it on an agenda so it can be discussed at a future meeting. But you won't have my support, is all I'm saying. So we're going to move on. 10.12.1 is going to be heard on an agenda, most definitely. Section 13, limitation, effective date. 10.13-1, no appropriation for debt service may be reduced, restricted, limited, or transferred, and no appropriation may be reduced below any amount required by law. Got it. Section 14, lapse of appropriations. This is talking about appropriations lapsing into the next year, encumbered money, you pay for it in the next year, payments and obligations prohibited. This is all legal wordage that is making you follow the law and make sure you get everything done on time in the right way when it comes to public money, because again, public money, everything is so convoluted. Chapter 11, nominations and elections. Section 1, town elections. 11.1.1, regular election for all town officers shall be official ballot held on the second Tuesday in June. 11.1.2, any person duly elected to any office or board shall take up the duties of his or her office on the first weekday of July. 11.1.3, provisions of general law, all with regard to town elections shall apply, except as stated in the charter. Eligibility of voters. Any registered voter of the town shall be eligible for election to any elective office or board. Section 3, filling of vacancies. 11.3.1, a vacancy in the office of town council, whether caused by death, resignation, removal, or recall, shall be filled by special election to be called within 30 days of said vacancy, unless a regular town election will occur within 180 days. Filling of vacancies in town boards other than the town council shall be by joint convention of the council and remaining members of said board. Section 4, recall of elective officers. 11.4.1. An elective officer of the town may be recalled or removed from public office by the voters of the town as herein provided. Any voter of the town may file with the town clerk a petition containing name and title, a statement of the grounds. Said petition shall be in ink or indelible pencil. Qualified voters of the town equal to at least 10% of the voters registered at the last municipal election. Provided that no recall petition may be filed against any officer until he or she have held office for at least 6 months. It shall be accompanied by affidavits as to the authenticity of signatures signed and sworn by each circulator. Said petition shall then be filed with the Board of Registrars or voters for certification. Within 10 days from such filing, the Board of Registrars shall check each name and shall certify signatures. Okay. Upon presentation of the certified petition to the council, it shall become the duty of the council within 30 days of the receipt to order a special election, which shall take place within 90 days. Okay, so this is just all the recall process. And the question shall insert the name, be recalled. That be, shall this person be recalled is the question. And the majority vote of the voters to recall such elective officer shall not be effective unless a total of at least 15% of the electorate entitled to vote in question shall have voted. 11.4.4, no person having been recalled or having resigned from office while recall proceedings were pending against him or her shall be appointed to any town office within 2 years of the recall or resignation. Oh, resigning during recall proceedings is the same as losing a recall election. Interesting, good to know. Section 5, election to be by plurality vote. 11.5.1, election to all town offices established by this charter shall be by plurality of those voting in each office. Chapter 12, I think this is the last, no, it's 2 chapters. We're almost done, guys. Initiative, general provisions, initiative, petition, and referendum. A lot of this is just more legalese here to make sure that everything is run the way it's supposed to for Mass General Law. But the voters of the town shall have the power to propose bylaws and other measures within the authority of the town council of this by initiative petition and to review bylaws and other measures set forth in this section 10.4.1 of the charter. At any election at which an initiative, petition, or referendum is submitted to the voters, the polls shall be opened at 7 o'clock in the morning and closed no later than 8. Section 2, in eligible measures, none of the following shall be subject to the initiative or the referendum procedures. Proceedings relating to the internal organization or operation of the town council or of the school committee. An emergency measure adopted in conformity with the charter. 3, the town budget or the school committee budget as a whole. 4, revenue loan orders. 5, any appropriation for the payment of the town's debt or service. 6, an appropriation of funds to implement a collective bargaining agreement. 7, proceedings relating to the election, appointment, removal, discharge, employment, promotion, transfer, demotion, or other personnel action. 8, any proceedings repealing or rescinding a measure of part thereof which is protested by referendum procedures. And 9, any proceeding providing for the submission of or referral to the voters at an election. Section 3 is about initiative petition. This goes on to outline exactly how many people need to sign a petition for a bylaw. We read the one already about the recall. It's very similar to this. It has its own rules, how many signatures that the town council has to put it on the agenda and vote on it. And then at which time, at the end of the council voting, so with the bylaws, you get the signatures certified by the clerk, councilors vote on it, and if they vote yes, then that petition goes to the election. and the citizens still are the only people that get the say. So like, even if the citizens really want something and the council votes yes on it, like even unanimously, like it still has to go to the polls to the election.
That's a question.
But did you have another question, Max?
Yeah, I'm just curious, like the 5% of the qualified voters.
Yep.
What number was that last? Like
Well,
last
right
time?
now it's 739.
Is 5%?
Mm.
Okay,
Yep.
that's all I wanted.
Okay.
Just an
Thank,
idea.
yeah.
So it would be like 1,500 for a recall petition because that was 10%.
Right.
The recall petition, the recall election is a little different because you have to have that many voters go out and actually vote,
Yeah, you have to have
like a certain percentage.
Yeah, but
It
to,
makes
do
it very
to make the
difficult.
petition, yeah, I know it's almost
Yeah.
impossible. I just
10%
wanted
to
to know
make
what kind
the
of numbers
position.
you're talking. That's all I wanted.
15% to come out to a special election. But these,
Yeah.
to my knowledge, Maddie, this goes on the next regular town election. So
Correct.
if
It doesn't
if the
create a special
citizens
election.
right, so if the citizens were to create the bylaw petition, council were to vote yes, and it hits the regular, it doesn't matter how many voters comes out for that one.
Right.
So the
Majority,
citizens really can push a question if they feel like it. It's written out here in about 750 votes. What 735?
739.
739.
That was 5%
Fair enough.
of last election.
5% of the registered voters. Okay. Section 4 referendum, a vote passed by the town council authorizing the expenditure of $250,000 or more as a special appropriation or establishing a new board or office or abolishing an old board or office or merging two or more boards or offices or fixing the term of town officers. This, again, is another for petitions on referendums.
Yeah.
Like there was a referendum on marijuana, right? When we first approved it, there was a referendum put on it. Okay, Section 5, Charter Amendment and Bylaw Review. This charter may be revised or amended with provisions of Article LXXXIX of the amendments to the Constitution, general laws implementing said amendment. The chairperson of the town council shall appoint a charter review committee every 5 years. The committee shall consist of 5 members and shall report its recommendations to council within 1 year from the date of its appointment. And every year following the issuance of a report by a charter review committee, the chairperson of the town council shall appoint a bylaw review committee. The committee shall consist of 5 members and shall report its recommendations to council within 1 year of the date of its appointment. I know it says bylaw will go within the year, but the bylaw committee hasn't been done in 14 years. So Scott said at the last meeting that he'll appoint the committee the next regularly scheduled meeting, which has now been moved to December 22nd instead of December 15th, by the way. Severability, if any provision of this charter is held invalid by a court of competent jurisdiction, such holding shall not affect the validity of the remainder of this charter. Specific provisions to prevail. To the extent that any specific provisions of this charter will conflict with any general provision thereof, the specific provision shall prevail. So this does say that matched up against anything, this charter prevails. And that's why the state, another reason why the state has to certify the charter every time there's a change, so they can understand that, like, yep, we're not like stepping on the state's toes. And this is why if there's something about referendums in the charter, and there's also language about referendums in the bylaws for whatever reason, the charter, whatever the charter says goes. You know, so, and that's why we'll probably need to have a meeting with Councillor Kelly, with that board being backed up 14 years. There's got to be some sort of inconsistencies, you know.
Maybe.
All right, last two here. This is pretty much. This is very basic transitional provisions, all general laws, bylaws, and when charter takes effect, only rescinded. This just explains that the laws are like disposition of certain special acts. Chapter 790 of the Acts of 1975 is repealed and so no longer apply to the town of Southbridge. Like these are just sometimes things have happened over the years, and if it's a thing that is worthy enough of being noted in chapter 13 and 14, it gets put in here. Like you'll see chapter 14 is just the Charter Commission's notes. transfer of records and property, all records and property and equipment whatsoever of any town agency or part thereof, the powers and duties of which are assigned in whole or part, in part to another town agency shall be transferred forthwith to such agency. Existing officials and employees. No person in permanent full-time service or employment of the town shall forfeit pay grade or time of service. Any person holding a town office or employment with the town shall retain such office or employment and shall continue to perform the duties of the office until provisions shall have been made in accordance with the charter for the performance of the said duties by another person. Effect on obligations and taxes. Time taking of effect. The charter shall become effective the first business day of July. This is all just language executes this. At such election, the terms of office members, town council serving a new 9-member council. Like, look, this is the thing when it went from 13 to 7 members or 9 members here.
I'm
And-
reading that, and it says that if they approve a new charter, you guys all have to go for election? Is that what that says?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's at such election, the terms of all offices, members of the town council, and shall expire. 9-member council is provided for the church to be like the first town election following the regular town election with this charter is adopted. That line, and you know what? Like, you see that it references March 2nd, 1973 here.
Yeah.
So, why don't we, Max, good point.
I mean, all of this is.
Why don't we just like clarify? I mean, obviously, nobody gets,
Make it clear.
everybody doesn't get expired after the
Remember
thing.
when it was after Mike Kaufman left and they went from 13
Yes.
to 9 and they
Right.
needed all this language to determine which one got a 3, a 2, and a 1
Right.
because they wanted to create staggering.
Right.
So,
So
13
this is all
seven,
like a
yeah.
ghost from that, probably. I mean, we don't do that anymore.
Yeah, how long does this stay? Right?
Yeah.
You know, I don't care. I don't. It's superfluous over here. The acts of 1975. Leave that in there. But I mean, this happened. This was this language that we're reading in 1371 is language to describe one event in history, and it's already and they followed these
And I don't
rules.
think you need to codify it because
No.
it's not going to happen again
No,
unless you
it would be a whole different situation if it
Right.
went back to
whole new
13.
charter.
So, upon implementation of this charter, town council shall enter into contractual negotiations with the incumbent town manager pursuant to 414. Town council shall immediately review the rules and regulations of the town council to ensure they're in compliance. Adoption of this charter is just adopting the charter. And then the charter, chapter 14, intent of notes. There's just some notes in here. So here's one, 223, guys. This was written by a prior charter commission. It says the intent of section 223 is to limit the term of office to town councilors to 3 consecutive terms. A councilor reaching the end of such 3 terms would be eligible to hold the office of council following a 1-year hiatus. So, I mean, I know we wanted to look into what is a term and how we're going to keep it that way. But some of these are curious, and then this will be the end of the meeting after this. The commission clarifies that if it's ever unclear as to the proper way in which a power of the town is to be exercised, or by whom any power of the town is to be exercised, the town council shall, consistent with 2-4-1, provide for the exercise of such power and for the performance of all duties. So, it gives you clarification on a couple things. 241, 244, 254, 412, the commission of the 3 non-council members of the 5-member search committee. Yeah. 471, the finance director's performance of the duties of the manager is intended to last only as long as it takes council to appoint acting town manager. Aha. So that's clarifying to you if, we'll use the last example of Jack and Nor. If there was a lapse for whatever reason and there was no town manager, God forbid, there, at that moment, the finance director, before the council votes on the acting manager, at that moment, in death or something, that the finance director is the manager until voted on, or has the duties of the manager. And then that's it. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 things.
Oh, look, it's 6 o'clock.
Let's not, yeah, wow.
How you like
I mean,
that?
it's just
Mike, you did that.
streamlined government, I guess. No. No, this is great, guys. I appreciate it. It took 90 minutes. We went through, we found our agenda items. I think we're not going to meet again before the holidays. We're meeting again in 2026.
Yeah.
Chairman Lazo said he's going to announce the bylaw board. I'll kind of just work with Councilor Kelly to wait and see. Give me some time to like do a bunch of research on this. I know that the town attorney Caprera has said that he would just glance over some things for us, on his own time, which I appreciate as a citizen, So that's very kind of him. I'll probably give him a call, run some of this stuff by him. And I'll do my best to do some due diligence on some of the questions. I'll get the minutes ready. We'll see what Councilor Kelly comes forward with his first meeting maybe. And, well, if there's anything else anybody wants to add, I was just going to say maybe we'll wait a full month and
I'm gone till 15th of January anyway.
15th of January?
Yeah, I'm taking off a little while.
Okay.
So if you did, it would be better for me. I mean, you don't need me.
No,
to have
understood.
Sure.
I mean,
Why not?
at this point,
Why not?
At this point, I'll get some questions answered. If there's 13 things here, I might be able to answer 5 or 6 of them, and those get knocked right off, like as a update on old business.
You know
And
who's
then I
gonna
could-
want to have feedback on that that threshold that she was talking about? I know you guys had
The
discussed
transfer policy.
all of these departments.
Yeah.
You could kind of get a consensus from them because they have a better idea. I threw a number up, but they would have a much better idea what kind of. But it has to be fair to both sides. Like to your point,
Right.
Mike, you guys do have approval authority. There's a reason for it.
Right, and I'm not gonna get upset with the
Yeah.
person on the other side that is saying
Yeah.
you could give us a little power,
Yeah.
and but I'm like, well, you're taking it away from the citizens at that point. So it's a good discussion to have.
Yeah.
And if the committee feels like it's something to recommend, the town council would be one that would have to vote on it and set the limits of that so that nobody was able to abuse it. Clearly, it's something that needs like a large discussion.
Yeah.
I discussed it last time. I'm ready to discuss it again. If it wants to be discussed, then it shall be discussed.
All of these are recommendations anyway.
Recommendations
We
of
have
the
no power here.
council,
We're just
yeah.
recommending what
Right,
Right.
right,
to them, and then they're going to recommend to the voters, and
Right.
then the voters will decide.
right, for sure.
Okay. All right.
And as budget practices get better, as they say they're supposed to over time, there'll be less transfers. And at least at the end of the day, if you're making a lot of transfers, if there's no transfer policy, at least EMS, emergency services, is the one you really want to sit the extra minutes for and pay close attention to. So.
Sure.
Well, anyway, other than that, agenda item number 6, right?
Yep.
Is adjournment. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thanks, Mike. Welcome back.
Thank you.